We are beginning the top of 11 a.m. with some breaking news that's coming in on the broadcast. Amid the clamour for the Uniform Civil Code, Kerala High Court's big observation has come about. Now, the Kerala High Court has said that Islamic clergy can't be relied upon to decide the applicability of personal laws. Courts manned by trained legal minds, and that is the reason why this sort of a directive is coming out of the Kerala High Court. They have said that because trained legal minds decide upon matters in the court, hence the court will not go ahead and surrender to the opinions of Islamic clergy. The court also goes on to say that Khula can be invoked by a wife in absence of the husband's consent. Remember, Khula is a procedure through which a woman can give divorce to her husband in Islam. So this is something that's come out of the Kerala High Court. Remember, a similar argument where the court, in fact, had ruled how this sort of, in fact, the Kerala High Court has gone on to say that Islamic clergy can't really be relied upon to decide the applicability of personal laws. This becomes a very, very important statement coming out of the Kerala High Court. Remember how we'd seen earlier that there had been observations where Kerala High Court had made it very, very clear that the division bench, in fact, which comprised of Justice A. Muhammad Mustaki and Justice C.S. Dias, while dismissing a revision petition, had given such an observation. This revision petition was challenging the court's own decision regarding the interpretation of Khula, which is a procedure through which a woman can give divorce to her husband in Islam. Now, the division bench has in fact noted that Islamic clergy alone cannot be deciding on a point of law which is related to Muslim Personal Law Board. And court on this had also clarified as to why ordinary scholars and Islamic clergy have no formal legal training, and that is why this sort of a mandate is coming out of the Kerala High Court. Now, let me actually quote the court over here. They have gone on to say that courts are manned by trained legal minds. They shall not surrender to the opinions of Islamic clergy who has no legal training on the point of law. No doubt in matters related to beliefs and practices, their opinions matters to the court, and the court should defend their views. The court also further observed that the legal norms are the cornerstones of creating a social and cultural order within the very community, and the dilemma relating to Khula is perhaps more related to the practice that has been followed for years. In such circumstances, it is expected to look at the legal norm by the court. My colleague Ananya, who's brought us that input, is now joining us on the broadcast. Ananya, very, very important observation by the Kerala High Court.
Well, definitely a very, very significant observation coming in from the Kerala High Court at this point of time, because remember that I'll take you to the background of this case first, because this was a review petition that was filed with regards to the practice of Khula in the Islam, and the court noted that though the Quranic scriptures basically say that the Khula is allowed, but no particular mechanism has been attached to it as to how it has to be practiced and what has to be done when the consent of the husband is not there, he's not ready to give a talaq, then what happens into that perspective. So now the court has very, very clearly said that it's an absolute right of a Muslim woman to in fact get a Khula clearly. In fact, it was hearing a review petition with regards to its earlier judgment, and then the court said that though Islamic clergy's views are very, very important in nature because they are scholars of Islam, they know the Islam very well, but then we have to remember that they're not legally trained minds, they're not trained into imparting legislation or in fact to decipher legislation according to the people, and that's the reason why their words are important. But then at the end of it, if the court has to intervene, it will have to intervene, and the court shall take their views into account, but does not have to go by their views alone. The court can make its own interpretation, and because the courts are legally trained minds, these are people who are studying law, who know these laws, who know how to interpret these particular laws, and that's the reason why the words of the Islamic clergies cannot be taken as a word of golden truth or a gospel truth, and that's the reason why it has made such kind of observation. In fact, it has also said that the court can take the verdicts, the words of the Islamic clergies in mind, but then it will have to make its own interpretation. It will have to not always go by what the Islamic clergies or the books say, because they can interpret the law in the favor of a particular person in case their fundamental rights are being damaged. And this was a case wherein the fundamental rights of a woman were being challenged. In fact, the whole judgment actually starts saying that this particular review petition seems like that there is an absolute violation of the right of that particular woman, and that's the reason why Khula is an absolute right given to a Muslim woman according to the Quranic scriptures, and then it should be upheld. And Khula is a particular practice that is perfectly fine and can be exercised by a woman when their husband is not actually trying to give out a talaq to them.
All right. Ananya, please stay on with us. Let me take this across to Maulana Masood Qasmi, who's now joining us on the broadcast. Maulana Qasmi, what do you make of the observation that has come out of the Kerala High Court? Now, the High Court is clearly mentioning that Islamic clergy alone cannot be relied upon when it comes to these legal matters, and this specifically talking in the context of Khula. How do you respond?
This is the point that nobody can come into the lawmaking process when the legislators are making. But the UCC is the union government representative already said in the Honorable Supreme Court that the only Parliament of India can bring UCC law in the Parliament.
मौलाना काज़मी, पहले मुझे एक बात आप ये बताइए कि आपको लगता है कि इस्लाम में जो मुस्लिम क्लर्जी है उनके इंटरप्रिटेशंस इतने वेरीड हैं और आपस में इतना ज्यादा अपने आप को ही काउंटर करते हैं जिसकी वजह से इस तरह के डायरेक्टिव्स आते हैं, और अब कोर्ट में भी ये बात साबित हो गई है और ये बात कह दी गई है केरला हाई कोर्ट के द्वारा कि भाई इस्लामिक क्लर्जी अलोन को कोई लीगल ट्रेनिंग नहीं है, तो इस मैटर में उनकी डायरेक्शंस पे जाके हम पर्सनल लॉज को अपहोल्ड करके इस पे हम रूलिंग नहीं कर सकते हैं, तो उसको खारिज किया है कोर्ट ने। उसके बारे में पहले बताइए।
देखिए, आप जो ये कह रहे हैं कि दुनिया का कोई भी लॉ
जी
ऐसा नहीं है जिसमें वेरिएशन ना हो
जी,
जिसमें डिफरेंस ना हो
जी।
हमारे देश के खुद ही कानून जो फ्रेम किए गए हैं कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन के जरिए, उसमें भी जूरीज का, उसमें भी लॉ के माहिरीन का, कानून के माहिरीन का उसमें इख्तिलाफ होता है, उसमें वेरिएशन आते हैं। तो ये किसी दुनिया के हर कानून में ऐसा है
जी। एब्सोल्युटली नहीं, बात तो आप बहुत सही कह रहे हैं मौलाना काज़मी, बट ये जो पर्टिकुलर ऑब्जर्वेशन केरला हाई कोर्ट से आया है, जो उन्होंने बोला है कि एक औरत अगर चाह रही है अपने हस्बैंड से तलाक लेना, खुला इन इस्लाम, शी कैन गो अहेड एंड डू दैट विदाउट द कंसेंट ऑफ द हस्बैंड। आप इसके बारे में क्या कहेंगे?
बिल्कुल, शी कैन गो अहेड एंड शी कैन टेक। इस्लाम में औरत के लिए भी खुला का हक है, जिस तरह से सिर्फ वर्ड नहीं कि भाई इस्लाम में मर्द जो है तलाक कहता है वर्ड, औरत के लिए वर्ड खुला है, वो खुला ले सकती है, वो अपनी मर्जी से अपने शोहर से अलग हो सकती है, अपने सेपरेट मैरिज को टर्मिनेट कर सकती है, और ये इस्लामिक है। इसमें कोई डिस्प्यूट भी नहीं है, कोई डिस्प्यूट नहीं है
जी।
इसकी वजह से यूसीसी का बैकग्राउंड बनाना ये कहाँ तक जायज है? यूसीसी एक अलग चीज है। यूसीसी सिर्फ मुसलमानों ही का सब्जेक्ट नहीं है
जी।
यूसीसी में हमारे नॉर्थ ईस्ट, हमारा मिजोरम, वो लोग भी आते हैं जिसको हमारे कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन ने रिलीजियस, कल्चरल उनको राइट दे रखे हैं, उनको कंसेशन दे रखे हैं, उनके ट्राइबल कानून के मुताबिक वो अपना सारे का सारा काम करते हैं। तो क्या हमारे, जब हम देश में, पूरे देश में यूसीसी लाएंगे, तो क्या नॉर्थ ईस्ट के लोगों के तमाम राइट जो कल्चरल राइट हैं, यू आर गोइंग टू अब्रोगेट दैट? पहले तो ये आपके